let's talk about money realistically real quick, because people get online and say these outrageous numbers, and I just feel like, especially if you don't live in LA, New York, Atlanta, like one of these crazy markets, dog, listen to me. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, which has a very high cost of living compared to the wages here. It's among the highest in the country. And let me tell you something. Making $5,000 a month after taxes is really good money. I first started making $5K a month. This is way before COVID, like way before the lockdowns. Y'all see how I try to avoid that word because they suppress videos. I would say, I'm not gonna give you the year, but say like a year and a half before the lockdowns, I was making $5K a month. And obviously this was before kids. This was while my wife was pregnant. And I was like, wait, $5K a month? Now, I know a lot of y'all like to drive G-Wagons and live in the biggest mansion on the side of the lake, but me and my wife had a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment, nice, renovated, new. I was driving, it was 2018, I was driving a 2016 Volkswagen Passat, financed, car payment from Navy Federal. I think my car payment was like $200. My insurance was like $130. Our rent was like $900 and something, I think. Maybe $900. This was back then now. So $450 per person. And man, life was fucking smooth. And I would say even these days, like if you and your girl have brains and y'all don't have social media brains, and you are making $5,000 a month, bro, and she's making whatever she's making, $2,000, $3,000. Yo, life could be so simple. When y'all get on here talking about 10K a month ain't shit, I can't relate. And I make more than 10K a month. Man, what are we talking about? Bro, I'm not gonna cap you down. I've had multiple 30K months, and I feel like the richest man on earth when I do some shit like that. This month right here, like that just ended, man, it was a good month. And I've been walking around with my motherfucking chin in the air, and I've been making good money. But it's like, when y'all get on here talking about this ain't that, that ain't this, I'm like, man, maybe it's because my cost of living ain't that high. I don't have a car payment. I don't have none of that. You live in a regular house. But rent, after everything every month, the $2,500 or below. Now I spend it on groceries and eating out and shit. But like, after everything is said and done each month, we probably spend $5-6 grand. Yeah, and I mean, we living like we want to. Like, buying whatever we want for real. What are y'all buying? What are y'all doing in life? Like, look, I'm not the shopping spree type of guy. Like, the only time you see me in new clothes is when I get it off the TikTok shop. I guess. You know, I guess maybe that's where I'm missing. My wife don't do a bunch of clothes shopping. She'll fuck up a candle sale at whatever that store is. But like, little shit like that, cool. And we do that at will. Like, we get whatever we want at will. I think y'all problem is like this materialism or whatever it's called. So how are y'all blowing through, bro? 5K a month, and your girl make a little something, she contribute. How are you broke?
So I'm gonna have to go both ways on this. John Cannon seems like he has his shit together, that he knows what he's doing, he's making a lot of money. But first and foremost, he lives in Florida. Florida does not have any income tax. Also, Jacksonville is a pretty cheap place. Everything is cheaper. Daycare is cheaper, groceries is cheaper, gas is cheaper. So that's one side of the story. But I agree with him. Like, a lot of people, if they make, a combined income of 12, 13, 14K a month, both parents make 100K each. A lot of people are really bad with money in general. You know what I mean? They will overextend on a car purchase. They will overextend on going on vacation. They might get a hotel that costs a little bit more than they should. Like, he lives in Florida, so he could probably spend a little bit more on vacation and cars than other people can. But if you look at his video, he's always sitting in a car. It doesn't look like an expensive car. It looks like a regular car. So yes, a lot of people are really bad with money in the US. I think it's like 80% of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 emergency. So it is a little bit tricky when it comes to that financial. Like, the only way to know is to dig into your finances. Like, I would have to look at your finances with you and be like, all right, cool. This is what you're spending money on. These are all your subscriptions. Do you really need Netflix and Hulu? It's tricky. Like, there's no one solution for everyone. Like, you would have to go to each person and then tailor what they're doing and see specifically case by case.
Okay, so I don't know who needs to hear this, but saving money is not just taking money out of your paycheck and start growing it. Although that's the goal, to me, saving money comes with the different decisions we make on daily basis on stuff that we used to do because it's not financially benefits us. So for example, I'm not the type of person to return stuff. If something that I bought doesn't fit me, or I don't really need it, or I don't use it, or it's broke even, I never go to return it because I'm like, oh well, another $20, $30, $40, whatever. Now when I'm changing the decisions I have, I'm making myself go to the post office or UPS to return stuff that eventually will come back to me, the money will come back to me, or I can use it for a different item. That's a very mature way to look at money. For example, I used to eat out a lot. I used to go to a restaurant twice a week at least. But now I'm focusing on being healthy, but also making my own meal. And that's forcing me to go to the store, get the groceries, and cook for the rest of the week or for the night. And those decisions save me a lot of money. These are the main things I learned about myself in financial growth process. Thank God. Thank God. I also noticed that it's changing my energy and my vibe because I have value towards the stuff that I'm holding and the stuff that I'm willing to do for myself. So I don't know who needs to hear it. I don't know who's going to resonate. But saving money starts with those small decisions you make on a daily basis to change basically your environment, yourself, and growth. And that can save you money. That was it.
This is why I feel like the cost of living has never been as bad as it is right now. Because it used to be when the cost of living was high, it was for the things that you need in life. Food, gas, shelter, etc. All those things cost a lot of money. Right now, all of those things still cost a lot of money. And also, I feel like it's just expensive to just be alive. Like, I feel like my life, as soon as I wake up, is literally just me putting down a credit card. And it's just a tab. And life is a bartender, and it's just like, what are you gonna have? And I'm just like, I'm okay. I don't really need anything today. And it's just like, oh really? Well, if you're gonna be here, you're gonna need to spend money. And I'm just like, what do you mean here? I'm just in the world. And it's just like, yeah, you have to buy something now. It's even getting to the point where like I feel like even my thoughts are getting expensive. You know? Like I could just have the thought of like, my nose is a little stuffy, and then all of a sudden I open up my phone 10 minutes later and have 12 ads for like, oh, you have a pollen allergy and you gotta buy these anti-pollen allergy pills or you're gonna suffocate in your sleep. Sleep is the only place I still feel kind of safe, but even there, it's like I could have sleep problems for one night and then I wake up feeling kind of groggy, and all of a sudden I'm getting targeted ads for melatonin gummies. It's like all of our necessities are still expensive, and then also just every increment of our life costs something.
If you've been an adult for any amount of time, you know that it's the small things that really mess you up. Like, you can have an expensive rent, you can have an expensive car, but it's the daily coffee, it's the daily eating out, it's the daily this, daily that, the small Uber ride, the Uber Eats. It's the small things that add up. Because if it was only the big things, then you can say like, okay, I have rent, I have car payment, and I have this health insurance. You can budget for those three and just know what they are, and they're going to be the same every month. Dude, it's the coffee, the small little things all the time. And it's the same thing with buying a t-shirt. You buy a t-shirt for $15 from H&M, and then you buy it again and again and again, and you do that 10 times, that's $150, but you don't think about it because each t-shirt is so cheap. And that's really where the discipline comes in. So it is super important to be disciplined and not just think like, this thing costs $10, let me just buy it, it's so cheap, because it's going to go really fast and spiral out of control.
It's not the overspending, it's the cost of living. Here is a breakdown of the average Gen Z and millennials' cost of living in today's world. So number one is rent. Everyone knows that Gen Z and millennials have to have a roommate. So splitting a 2-bedroom apartment with utilities is around $1,500. If you have a car, a $12,000 to $15,000 used car is still gonna run you $400 a month. Car insurance and gas is another $300. Student loan payment, $500. You're gonna have groceries for $500. You're gonna have personal care, doctor's appointments, hair, gym, about $150, and then cell phone and miscellaneous $150. That's $3,500 a month, which is baseline. Do you know how much $3,500 a month is? $70,000 a year, or $34 an hour. Because after you take out taxes, put $300 for health insurance, and do a healthy $500 401k contribution, that leaves you with $3,500. This is no fun, no savings, no maintenance, no clothes, no kids, no traveling, no vacations, no bachelor parties, no weddings, no funerals, no clothes, no school supplies, nothing. And this is paycheck to paycheck. And on top of it, they're holding $40,000 of student loan debt, a $15,000 car, and if they ever wanted to buy a house with closing costs and the down payments, another $50,000. So they need $105,000. So even if they were somehow able to scrounge up after $70,000 of paycheck to paycheck, $5,000 to go to a concert, to have avocado toast, whatever it is, $5,000 a year, it would take them 20 years to pay off this debt and save up for a house. 20 years of living with the roommate where that rent's going up, and they're making $70,000 a year as a college graduate. The average person in this country makes $50,000. It is not the overspending. It is a cost of living crisis.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car, and please don't hit me with the you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement, because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food, because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car, $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make 75 grand a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, dog's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows, just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to. There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means objectively you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.
So back in 2020, all the prices went up because of the supply chain crisis and blah, blah, blah. And I honestly just think the companies said, you know what, we can keep charging these prices. Why are we going to lower our prices? They're not that nice. So that's really where the cost of living crisis comes from. I wasn't spending this much money when I graduated college. I was making $45K a year. My roommate was making $65K a year. We lived in New York City, in Manhattan, Harlem, in a doorman building, and we were doing really well. Everything was cheap. We would get these footlongs, not from Subway, from like a bodega. It cost $5, half of it for lunch, half of it for dinner. Gym membership, New York Sports Club, it was like $65 a month. Like everything was cheaper back then. After 2020, everything skyrocketed and they just decided we're not going to lower the prices. So that's where it comes from. It's artificial. All right, guys, thank you. That was it for today. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and let me know if you have any other viewpoints, any other opinions on anything that was shared, and let's have a discussion. Thank you.